The final new uniforms of the offseason were unveiled this past Wednesday, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to rank all of the new uniforms.
Welcome to the Rines Report with your host, Tristan Blake Rines.
First off, I'm no fashion designer. I understand how to put together an outfit, but as you can see, I am literally wearing just black on black, and essentially, I am not above putting on just a hoodie and calling it a day sometimes. So when it comes to the rankings, it comes down to the changes that I liked the most and vice versa, the ones that I didn't like, and ways that teams innovated based on history of former designs and things that they've had traditionally. So a couple of things went into play, but they're just arbitrary enough for you to not hate me based on my ranking. And I'm going to be ranking 6. Some of you might be saying there are 7 different uniform changes. Well, the first is the honorable mention of the Indianapolis Colts, popping pictures on the screen now, and the Colts uniform changes weren't necessarily so drastic that you can call it a complete overhaul. They changed the fonts on the numbers, they changed the lettering font for the actual spelling of Colts, and they added an alternate logo, and on the away uniform put a black Nike swoosh instead of remaining blue. So I wouldn't really call those major overhauls. I mean, they're worth mentioning in an offseason full of 7 different changes as far as the actual uniform goes, but I'm chalking the Colts changes up to, a general, just honorable mention. I don't want to throw them into the mix of the actual rankings. So I'm going to go 6 through 1, starting at number 6, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I do think that the Atlanta Falcons changes were okay, nothing crazy, but they're the lowest on my list because they went super minimalistic in my opinion. The most interesting aspect of what they've done is adding the shadow outline of the red behind the numbers, and then their home uniforms having that red to black fade, but everything else about the uniforms feels really minimalistic in my opinion. Not a whole lot of changes besides some font, but I liked what they had before personally. I think that the shoulder the shoulder designs and the ways that the blacks and the whites and the reds all work together was really cool. I think the best decision was keeping the throwback Atlanta Falcons, the black with the black bird on the side, the black and white design with the just hints of red across it was a really good decision. But I think overall, while the uniforms aren't necessarily bad, I just feel like they're really basic. Number 5 on the list, the New England Patriots. Now, the Patriots essentially just took their color rush and turned them into the home uniform. And I really liked those uniforms. I like the jerseys a lot. I've been trying to get my hands on one for some time. But the away jersey is essentially just a standard flip of the of the home uniforms. It went from wherever there's white, you turn it into to blue, and then vice versa. Wherever there's blue, turn it into white. I think they're a little just ordinary. I can't see anything on the uniforms necessarily that are, anything unique. I think they go back towards the traditional, Pat Patriot style of the uniforms, which I personally love, but there's no incorporation of the flying Elvis really into the uniform besides, having it on the sleeves, which is again fine, but it feels a little more standard. I mean, the Patriots have had some interesting uniforms over the years. The original Pat Patriot feature of the bright red and the light blue on the sleeve with the white accents, to the flying Elvis on the shoulder and the offsetting blues striping down the center with the the faded number on the beginning, or actually in the middle. And then to what we've seen for the past 20 years, which is a combination of a lot of just the colors and some striping, but nothing crazy off the wall, to now it feels a little bit more toned down, but not necessarily in a bad way, just not high enough or innovative enough to become, a top 3 on this list. Number 4, the Cleveland Browns went back to what works. I love what the Cleveland Browns did by going back to the traditional style of uniform. I do wish they would have kept the color rush incorporated into the rotation. The going back to the all brown, or excuse me, just going into essentially all brown and all orange uniform without the stripe accent on the side. Honestly, I feel like it's a little lacking in just general jersey interest. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna just be a straight up brown jersey with the numbers on it and the back plate. But the overall home and away uniforms, going back to what works, like I mentioned, I really like that they went back, they put a little bit of the new age twist with the, the general Nike jersey designs, and it looks really, really good. I like the move, I like what the Browns are doing here, and hopefully this will help them translate into a couple more wins. What's that quote from Deion Sanders?
You gotta look good, you play good, pay good, live good, eat good, die good.
Number 3 on the list, the LA Rams were the last team to unveil new uniforms with a new logo. And the new logo, again, I find incredibly questionable. But I think the uniforms are pretty solid. They didn't stray too far away from what has been working. I like what they did. They kept essentially the heart and soul of the home uniform over these past few years, keeping it that blue and yellow, not going too off the wall crazy, just changing the shoulder accent and the numbers mostly to feature that swooshing of the new logo, that separation in the ram horn along the sides, the helmet doing the same thing. And the numbers are a little interesting. I didn't necessarily like them at first, but they grew on me pretty quickly, with the home uniform having the yellow to white fade down and the accent inside of the number. So I also like the patch they put on the shoulder. And then flipping it to their away, they went with bone white, which is not necessarily a pure white, but I do like that it's a little bit of a texture there. I like the bone white personally. I like that they kept the, the swooshes on of the horns on the shoulders. I also like the patch. I think it just looks general. It feels like an LA type of uniform. It's clean. It's not too overcomplicated. But it generally hits you with the gist. These are the LA Rams, and I think the bone white was a good decision as far as whoever made the uniforms. Some people really don't like them. I personally think they're a pretty solid uniform. Number 2 on the list, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are welcoming Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to the Buccaneers organization, and they got some new uniforms, calling back to what works from the 2000s with the solid gray, red, and white. And personally, I love it, love it, love it. I think that the addition of the pirate ship on the shoulder, I think the numbers on the shoulder, I like the new text, I like the incorporation of the new logo, I like the general color scheme of the uniforms. They got that dark gray, they got the face mask from going from a chrome on the face mask to a black. They went back to what works from the early 2000s to mid 2000s, whatever, and I think it was an overall great decision. I'm a big fan of the alternate all gray uniform. It looks really clean, really sleek. The number font going from that digital alarm clock looking font to solid consistent numbers. I like it. I think it works really well. And the home uniform red looks hella nice. Very nice. I really like it. And the away uniform all white. Like they basically just said, look, we're gonna go with our alternate all gray. We're gonna go away all white, and then the red and gray mixed up in the home uniform. I'm sure they probably got some red pants laying around to make it all work too. So I like what the Buccaneers did, gaining a number 2 on my list. And then finally, the Chargers are undefeated when it comes to uniforms. Their one fan is really gonna love. I'm just kidding. That's a cheap shot. It's a cheap shot. But look, the LA Chargers brought the heat this offseason, not releasing just one, the home. They're not releasing just the away, not even just an alternate. They released like 4 or 5 different uniform, 5, 6 combinations, and I love what they've done. They got cleaner, just like the LA Rams got a little bit cleaner, not as much going on necessarily, but the way the colors work, man, the LA Chargers just can't miss on uniforms. I like the yellow and blue. With the home uniforms being the light blue with the yellow, and I like what they did with their color rush, keeping that, royal-ish blue with a golden yellow, the stripe out, the lightning bolt, and going back to the numbers on the side of the helmet, to me, was an awesome throwback, was an awesome homage to the old uniforms that they've worn throughout history. And then with an extra alternate, the dark blue, the whole uniform being dark blue with the lightning bolt on the side. I just love it. I love everything the Chargers are doing with their uniforms. Their jerseys are super nice. They're awesome. I really love it. The whole uniform is gonna look awesome on Sundays on the gridiron, and I'm excited to see them in action. Thank you so much for watching the video. You can catch me on social media down in the description below. Stick around, watch some more content. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment, share. Get the bell on to know every single time that I'm dropping a video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Adios.